Hi everyone, this is Tanya with Flying Dog Studio. Thank you so much for joining me for part 3 of my Beatrix Potter study, and this is the Derwent Graphitint process. And if you didn't catch part 1 and 2, part 1 was the inking and part 2 was laying down the base layers. I will have those links below for you, but you can also go to my channel and look at the little tabs and kind of scroll over to the right and you'll see something called courses, and there will be an entire section just for Derwent Graphitint. So that's where you'll find everything, but I'll have those listed below. Now in our second video, we added just base colors. So I had the Meadow, which is what I added first on this palette, and if you haven't already noticed, right above the palette I will have the list of colors that we're adding to this palette. And I started with Meadow, and then I had some Ocean Blue, and then I had some Autumn Brown, and those were the colors that we used in step 2, just putting down the base colors. And I said in that video that we'll be coming back and layering on top, but we're doing it a little bit differently this time. We're not just using straight colors, we're doing a little pre-mixing because you can do that. And I have taken Meadow and then I added Slate Green, and that gave me our basic green. That's the one we're going to be using through this entire thing, and you'll see me take a little bit of that green and add it over like I just did and to that Meadow, because I want a little bit more of a yellow green. So whenever I'm seeing some more yellow green, I will take a little bit of that color and add it over to the Meadow. And I'm also going to be reactivating those two colors that we used previously, which was the Ocean Blue and the Autumn Brown. And I'll put those up on the screen for you in just a few minutes. You'll see those so you'll know which ones that I'm talking about. One thing about mixing colors with Graphitint, once you mix them, and you'll see every time I go over to the palette, I'm swirling it around, because something you can't tell from the video, but you can in person, is that all the little pigments will separate in there. It's as if you can see the graphite separating from the color. So you have to continually swirl it. Now there's the Ocean Blue. I told you I put it on the screen, and down there is the Autumn Brown. But you have to continually swirl it so that you can get a consistent color. You'll notice that I am adding some colors simultaneously on the same leaf. So I'll add one and I'll come back and add the other one at the same time so that they can blend together. That's something I do in watercolor, and it does work with the Graphitint. But as I said in the first video, you'll want to make certain that if you're going to put another color on top so you can mix it, we're not layering when we do this technique. When you want to mix it, make sure they're both still wet. If you let Graphitint dry just a little bit and then try to come back when it's slightly damp, you will simply pull that previous color completely off the paper, and we don't want to do that. We want to try to mix it on here. So that's what you see here. I'm able to lay on top of the colors we did last time because they completely dried, but I'm also able to mix colors on top of those. And some of the areas, like on the petals of the plant, you will see that there's some yellow that goes to orange, and then it goes to the pink, and that's how I'm doing that. I'm laying those down while they're still wet. And you'll also see as we get a little bit farther down, I can use the same colors on a leaf. If I have part of it dark blue and then part of it yellow, I can use the same green, and it looks different on each one. So much like watercolor, it is keeping its property. So I'm going to be quiet for just a minute, and then when there is some more stuff I want to talk to you about, I'm going to hop back on. But until then, I'm going to give you a little musical interlude, so enjoy that, and I'll hop back on in just a second. I really enjoy using Derwent Graphitint for Beatrix Potter's work. And the reason for that is what I'm doing right now. These just blend together so well. And I hate to say I like them better than just straight watercolor, but honestly, for her pieces, I really kind of like it better than watercolor. And it surprises me to say that because when I first purchased these, I thought, oh, they're going to be so hard to use because, like you, I went online and I watched other artists use them and I thought, gee, I don't know. But once I started using them, I realized it could give me a look of an aged watercolor piece. And that's what we're looking at with Beatrix Potter's work. We're looking at some pieces that are older and you're seeing that age in there. And if you've watched any of my other Beatrix Potter studies, and I have a whole tab on that, not in the courses, but just over in the regular playlist, I have a Beatrix Potter study list. And if you've had a chance to see any of my other Beatrix Potters, you know I like to kind of tint the paper where it looks aged. I started doing that with tea, and then one of you said, hey, I do that too, but I use Derwent Ink Tints pencil, and that's how I, quote, create my tea. So I started doing that because, you know, I don't know, since the tea is more acidic, what it's going to do to the paper later on. Probably not anything good. I'm just doing these for demos. It's not like I'm trying to sell them or anything, but I thought I will start doing that as well. I didn't do that on this piece, and I didn't because I wanted you to see what graphitint looks like on just the plain white paper that we use. So that's why I didn't do that for this one. If you're wondering, if you watched mine before and you're like, she didn't put that down, I just wanted to show you what this looks like on plain white paper because not everybody likes to do that. But if you are wanting to follow along and do some of these pieces, I'm going to have that link below so you can take a look at the Victoria and Albert Museum website. That is where I get all of my pieces for reference. And sometimes when I'm doing my own work, I will put my drawings up on my blog so you can go and use those as reference. You can trace them, you can print them out, whatever you want to do. I usually have those up there. I don't on this one since I don't own this piece and I'm just using it as a reference. So I will put that link on there if you want to go on there and do that for yourself. And as I said in video number 2, and probably I said it in video number 1, I say a lot of things, I don't know. But if you want to trace this, I have a video down below that explains how you can turn your iPad into a Lightbox. And I'm sure you can do that with an Android device as well. I'm just unfamiliar with those. You can probably do it with any kind of tablet actually. So that's down below for you as well. You could see it in the leaves above, but you can really tell in this clump of leaves below. What I was saying earlier about taking that green, that same green, and coming back to these leaves, because a lot of these will have part yellow and part blue, and I'll put that green on the whole thing, and you can tell where it's blue-green, it's a little more blue-green, and where I put the yellow down first, it is more yellow-green, especially on this one. And then if I feel as if it needs to be a little more blue-green in an area, I can come back to that ocean blue, touch it, and then go right on top of where I painted that green. but you want to do it before it gets too dry. If it gets too dry, you're just going to pull your colors up. That's one thing about the Graphitint you kind of have to practice and get used to. Some of this, if you see me come back and do it later, then it's already dried. This one, I almost waited too late. I sat next to a window, and right now it's October in Arkansas, and I usually have my window open, but it's getting a little chilly. And when I say chilly, I'm saying like 50, 60 degree weather. And for those of you that live in the northern hemisphere, extreme northern, you're going, oh, that's not cold. It is if you live in Arkansas. It really is. If you're from the South, that seems cold to you. But usually there's a breeze coming in my window. And when I don't have that, then right above my desk where I work, there is a vent, and I will have heat or air coming through that. So things kind of dry quickly. And that's what was happening to me on some of these leaves. So I had to be very, very careful and make certain, because I get distracted sometimes and I move on and then I go, oh, I want to add a little more color here, and then it's a little too dry. So keep that in mind when you're using the Graphitint. Just a few more paint strokes and this piece will be finished. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you have been here for part 1, 2, and 3, kudos to you. I appreciate you so much. If you don't mind, take a look down in the comments, and there's something called a hype. Some of you guys are able to do a hype and some of you aren't. I don't know exactly how it works. It's free to do hypes as far as I know right now at the filming of this video. I know I've been hyping some of the people out there who have videos that can be hyped. And what that does for small creators like myself is to put our videos out in the algorithm again. And YouTube is always changing their algorithm due to bots, and apparently they've done that again. So some people that used to see my videos are no longer seeing those in their feed. But if you'll hype that for me, just hit hype. It'll help me so much. Again, thank you so much for being here. I have some more projects coming up. I have one that's going to be my own piece coming up pretty soon. I think I'm going to use Caran d'Ache on that. Be looking for that. But until then, my friends, I will see you in the next one.